So if you get lucky, all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver, a knife, a putty knife. That's it. First thing is to peel this inner rubber core off that usually is nasty. It just should fall right out like that. Unscrew all these screws one at a time. Don't use a screw gun because you'll strip the heads of the screw and it's going to be quite difficult to get them out. But that's a tough one to get out. This one was really tough one to break. I had to put a fan on here because I'm dying in here. Not having that forward hatch is just, the airflow in here is just stagnant. It's nicer outside than in here. I'm gonna have to do something else with that. I have 4 screws I can't get out, so I'm gonna figure out some kind of way to get them out because they're just seized in there. So as you can see, if this one comes out with the vice grip. I got one out earlier and another one, but the screw was a little askew, so I was able to grab onto it better. Let's see if this will work on this one. There you go. There's nothing easy about these windows. They're poorly designed. I did it on my Catalina 25. It was a nothing but a pain. But it can be done. Alright, I was able to grab this one and I have one more left. So this will come out. The screwdriver. Just have to do this last one. It's the hardest one. See if we can grab it somehow. Just need a little. Oh, there you go. Nice. Yabby. Turn it a few times with the. And then if you ever do this, make sure you don't use these screws again, the ones that are stripped, because yeah, you don't want to use them again. Alright, so this is the inside frame that comes out. Just needs a good cleaning. And then if you're lucky, we could just push this puppy out. It should fall right out, but go gently so you don't break anything. You know, I'm gonna break the glass. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna get stuck, so I'm gonna go outside. Just kind of break up the behind here. And the portlight out. And she's out. Just be careful, don't scrape the hull. I mean the deck. Just kind of peel it off. There you go. Pretty good shape. It's much better than the Catalina 25 was. But the Catalina 25 was almost like a 3/4 inches thick. This one is only maybe a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch thick over here. Always do one porthole at a time. It's just much easier that way, in case you run into problems. Next thing is to clean all this off and then remove these 2 screws on both sides. On the Catalina 25, there's a little bit of a metal plate or aluminum plate in between the 2 to kind of hold it together. This one is missing it, or it's not there, or it's just a different design. So I was only able to take this 1 screw out, but I'm going to leave the other one in there and see if I can pull the frame apart. And if that little metal plate is in between, then there's no point to take the 2nd screw out, because this one was really hard. I had to use the vice grip to do it. This is when the flathead screwdriver comes handy, because it just helps to pry it apart and get it in there and open it up a little bit, and then do a little bit on the other side to do the same. This one was pretty tight, so I used this blade to get in there and kind of gently pry it open, and now it's moving apart. Just do one side at a time, and then do the same thing on the other side, gently. There you go. Same thing on the other side. And it's off. Then just peel the rubber gasket off. It's old, you know, it's very brittle, so it's old and nasty. Throw it in the garbage. So that's it. Just clean the glass off. with whatever you want to clean it with really well. And then the frame also needs to be cleaned. Pull everything off. All this, whatever caulking they used. If there's any caulk residue on the glass, you need to scrape that off with a blade, so it gives you a better seal once you put the rubber gasket on. And then I use simple green because it's biodegradable and it smells pretty cool. This is the annoying part, is to trying to peel all this stuff off. It's worth cleaning out the channel in between. You loosen up everything first with some kind of scraping device, and then hit it with a brush so it all comes out. But first you dry fit the inner rubber gasket all the way around and put it on as tight as you can. Then cut the excess off and don't pull the rubber too tight because it'll spring back and you might end up having a little bit of a gap here, which you don't want to have. The next thing is you peel this off gently and then apply a bead of silicone in here or whatever they provided with the kit. My boat didn't come with the caulk. I'm using a different one. I'm using this, suggested by my boat shop guy in Austin, and because the kit was missing the silicone or the caulk or whatever I need to use. So I'm just going to use this and rub it on the edges so it actually seals it onto the glass, and then we'll put it into the frame. So this is the rubber gasket, the inner rubber gasket on with the caulk underneath it, and then now you put the frame on it, and it's always a little bit of a trick how to scoop it on. Start on this end and kind of work it in there. What you do is you work this frame in here. Can you see? You got it in? It's a little bit of a... There you go. A couple of these, the gasket was sticking out, so I just ran my finger against the metal and I kind of pushed it in all the way. And you kind of have to work it because it's kind of weird how it's designed, but you could make the turns really nice. I'm gonna put the second frame on top of it now, see how that fits in. Don't worry about the silicone oozing out because you can always wipe that off real quick before it cures. This actually should be tighter that way so it meets at the tube. There you go. That went right in. And don't worry about if there's a tiny gap in between because that's going to be covered up with caulk and or silicone or whatever you're going to use. So all these need to be real tight, and the silicone is oozing out of it, which is a good thing. That means it's a good seal. And I'm just going to wipe it off, clean it, and then put it on the boat. What you have to do is pre-tape the edges where the portlight's going to be, so any kind of excess caulk will ooze out. It will be on the tape so you can remove it easy. I'm going to do a quick dry fit, see where it's going to fit. It's going to be right there. We're going to apply the caulk. Set the port light in. outside. Put this frame back where it goes. And then just start up the screws. Put them all in where they belong. Lightly, so you make sure you don't move the port light on the outside around. And these screws will sandwich the whole thing together, and that will make it work. The most important thing is the screws on the top. Make sure they go in. Alright, so I'm going to tighten the screws, and as long as nothing shifts around, it should cinch up everything and make it where it needs to sit. So this process is about an hour and a half, 2 hours, no matter what you do. There's no quicker way of doing it. On my Catalina 25, one of them took 3 hours because the guy, the previous owner, just keep caulking everything, and then they also had delamination between the outer and the inner shell, and that was a disaster. So yeah, that took one of them, and the other window, one of the portholes just fell right out. It was easy, but it's quite a process. So it's not fun, but you know, after this, she's not gonna leak, and that's the most important thing. It's a one-time process. It's gonna last you a long time. So just do it right. Take your time. It's a pain in the ass. That's what it is. Just gonna tighten them all up, and this is it. Also, one more thing. If you're doing a Catalina 25, there's one port light on port and starboard side that look almost rectangular, but the one side is a little bit smaller. And you make sure mark them, what's top, what's inside and outside, and which frame goes up and down, because it's sometimes you put them upside down and you know they're not gonna fit because it's gonna have a little bit of a gap, and I've seen people putting them back in the wrong way. So just make sure you mark and then do one porthole at a time, because it's just gonna be much easier that way. And good luck. The cool thing with this sea caulk, what is that called? Sea caulk, I think. Is it's clear, so in case you screw up, it's not a big ugly weird color. Alright, well, number 2 is a little bit more complicated. There's a lot of caulk in here. Someone just jabbed a bunch of caulk in here, so I put some tape up to protect the deck, I mean the hull. I'm using this drawer. There you go. Use my little pry tool. Put these tiny wedges in there to keep it away. Pry it out somehow.